All right, guys, it is Wednesday, November 6th, 2019. I got my trunk hinges painted yesterday and didn't get any runs in them, which I'm very happy about and surprised as well. You know, them things sticking up in the air like that with all the angles and stuff. I can't believe I didn't get a run with high solids clear, but anyway, I'll take it. So the thing I've been dreading the most, if you can see my contraption here, I finally got my flex plate changed out. And it went very smooth, and in about 30 minutes I had it done. So I kind of wish I'd have done it sooner now, but at least it's done now. I still have to put my drive shaft back in, but I've got the trans bolted back down. And anyway, I got my trans pan on because before it just had the stock steel one on there. And I guess I can show it. I don't think I've ever showed underneath the car or underneath the chassis after getting it all painted and some of the stuff put together. But so I got the trans pan put on. Now this is just your, that's a Summit brand. I don't know who makes it for them, but it comes as a blank right there. So I took it down to a trophy shop down here in town and had it laser etched. It was like 15 bucks or something for that. Very well worth it for the detail. And now it's chemical resistant, you know, and everything. But so I bought 5-pack of ARP bolts to do my drain plugs, and it was pretty cool that I think that was the same bolt as I used for the oil pan. So I used brand new nylon washers, sealing washers there. But anyway, here's what it looks like underneath the car. Now I did smooth the bottom frame rails, the outer frame rails all the way down. I did leave the weld seam. I've mentioned this before, but they are very, very straight. Everything is molded in and smooth. Except the inside body mounts, and now I wish I would have done those because I did the outsides, but I didn't do the inside ones. I left them the factory chicken poop welds on them, you know. But anyway, just got lazy. I spent all that time, and I should have just went the extra mile, you know. But anyway, I'm glad I did go back and redo my trans mount ears there on the center chassis rails because they really turned out good. Now everything that I smoothed on the chassis, everything is fully welded all the way around. And I've had a couple of guys already tell me the frame's going to crack all the pieces, all the body filter's going to crack out, and I don't think it will because everything's fully welded. And I realize the frame will probably flex a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to crack anything out. The filler's not even that much there. Everything was done in metal. If you go back and look at the old videos, when I went back and shaped everything, it was pretty much all made in steel. So there's not a ton of filler in this thing. I mean, I wiped everything, but I went back and sanded it, you know. But anyway, after all the ARP hardware's in, it really gives it that detail it needs, you know. It looks freaking nice. I'm a big hardware junkie. I like that stuff to match and look good, you know. I still have to do my cover for the torque converter. I have a factory steel one that I'm going to do some custom work to, and it'll be painted probably black. I don't have any cotter pins in the front stuff yet, like the center link and idlers and all, or tie rods and all that stuff yet. I've still got to take the steering box back off the car to put the body on and stuff. But anyway, it's turning out pretty cool. I'm happy. I'm tired of laying on the floor, I can tell you that. So I got one header clearance for the temp sensor on the passenger side one's done. Now I got to do the driver's side. And I did get the starter on. I did have to clock it. I just had to move it over one hole. It was up here. I had to move it down to here. The solenoid was up against the block. It wouldn't let the bolt go in. So anyway, I got it all clocked. So now the 153 tooth is in and the starter's where it needs to be. Now I can put my header on and I've got some clearance off the header. I did use the little nail. I call it a nail. I don't know what the hell it is. A little piece of rod. And that's what you use to check your mesh of your teeth. And I actually did it while the tranny was back away from it after I changed the flex plate, and it made it a hell of a lot easier to get to. So if you have an old school small block and you're in the process of buying parts and putting stuff together, if you're going to run headers, I'd highly recommend a 153 tooth flex plate if you're going to run especially a mini starter. That way you can get it in there, up away from your headers. And some of the first cars I ever built, I'd use a stock starter on with full tube headers, and those headers always hot soaked that starter, and you'd drive somewhere and shut it off and go to start it back up, and it didn't want to start until the starter cooled back off. And I tried the Ford remote solenoid on the first car I did. It was a 55 actually. And then I wrapped the starter in that heat stuff, and it didn't work. I think it held the heat in longer actually. But anyway, I ended up going to a mini starter. I never had the issue again. So from then on, I started doing mini starters on every car I built. And you know, these things are pretty inexpensive, and they have the dual pattern where you can use the 168. But the 153 tooth is nice because it gets that starter up against that block, you know, and you get quite a bit of clearance off your header. So if you have an old school small block with a two-piece rear main and you want a 153 tooth flex plate, it's a Pioneer FRA 112 is the part number. Now if you have a one-piece rear main old school small block Chevy, that part number will not work. You need the one that has the weight on it. But you can tell them at O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whatever, it's for like a 1990 Chevy Camaro, and there'll be a 153 tooth flex plate, but they'll have a weight welded to it. I never knew that. I never knew those, like a 1990 Chevy 350 or 305 had a counterweight on it. I was kind of blown away when I opened because that's what I got it for, was a 90 Camaro at first, and I brought it home and opened it up, and it had a weight welded on it. I never knew the small blocks had a external weight on a flex plate for that model. So anyway, I ended up having to take it back, and I got the FRA 112 for a two-piece rear main. So. Anyway, guys, I guess that's it. I'm going to get back to work and see what I can get done, I guess. I'll go ahead and get the drive shaft in, and I can probably do some more stuff. But I don't know, since it's up on ramps now, I can kind of get the camera under here to look under here and see stuff. It's pretty dusty under here. I need to wipe everything down, but I'm not going to mess with it until I get it done, because it's just going to keep getting dusty, you know what I mean? But it's turning out really, really nice. You know, all the detailing and stuff. It's really, really paying off. So I put these on there. They're not tight. I just basically put them on here. And this is for my front sway bar. These are energy suspension. Now they were not the greasable ones. Now the ones I have for my rear sway bar, I did buy them as greasable. So what I did was I drilled and tapped that and put a stainless Zerk in there. So I drilled a hole in the cushion itself, in the urethane cushion, and I drilled the hole bigger, and that way the grease can get up in there. But now I can grease them just like I can the rears, because you know that urethane, if it's dry and it's on a sway bar, it'll squeak like hell. And I don't like these. Their corners are really, really sharp, and I don't like that. So I'm going to take these back off, and I'm going to round these corners, and I'm going to end up painting these black. I just don't like that gold anodized and that sharp edge. Just needs a little bit of touching up, I think. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get back at it, and I may need to make a run to the parts store, and I need to go to the welding supply and see if I can't get a small bottle of argon so I can weld up my stainless exhaust.